Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
All right, guys, welcome back to our show. I'm your host, John Harcar, and we're here today with Malcolm Wallaker. And what we're going to talk about, or what he's going to share, is how he went from 0 to 30 deals in an area with no sphere of influence. Guys, remember, here at Investor Fuel, we help real estate investors, service providers, all real estate entrepreneurs, 2 to 5x your business. We do that by providing the tools and resources to help you, build the business you want to build and live the life you want to live. Malcolm, welcome to our show.
Hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, man, I'm super excited to have you on here. I'm excited to learn about your journey and how you blew up so quick. But before we get into the weeds of all that, why don't you tell our audience a little bit more about you, your background, kind of where you're from, and how you got here?
Yeah, so I grew up in southern Minnesota. I born and raised high school football player, loved sports my whole life. Went to college in the Twin Cities at Bethel University. Down there, met my wife, and she's a few years older than me, so she wanted to live up in northern Minnesota, and she had a job when I got out of college. So
Nice.
I was a little as a broke college kid. I kind of had to follow her wherever she went.
Yeah.
So moved up to northern Minnesota, try to figure out life after college, and then ended up in real estate eventually, and that's kind of the start of my story.
Okay. What were you doing before you got into real estate?
Yeah, I actually worked in the kind of the social services field a little bit. I worked helped with case management with certain clients and stuff that was partnered with the county.
Okay. Is that what you went to school for?
Yeah, more or less everything. Yeah, it was originally what was the plan, and then I just it took me into a different direction eventually when I still wanted to help people, but just in a different way.
Okay. And where did real estate come into play? Because a lot of folks I talk to might have had real estate in their, in their family. They might have been exposed to it at an early age. What turned you on to real estate?
Yeah. So, really, I kind of live by the principle, like, no matter where others are in life, everybody needs a home. So I actually had some mentors and some good friends of mine just kind of see that side of me, and also just kind of seeing my personality. They were buddies from church, so they kind of knew a different side of me,
Yeah.
a little bit, and knew that I had all the best intentions for others, and so they really took the opportunity to sort of mentor me they're no longer in the business in the same way anymore, but they're actually purely on the investment side now.
Okay.
I'm no longer on the sales side, but
Okay.
that's how I first got my start, is really just people believing and seeing some potential in me.
Okay. So you have these mentors that were already flipping houses, doing wholesale, stuff like that?
Correct. Yeah, flipping houses. Turning fourplexes into remodeling fourplexes. Very successful Airbnb business at the time, and I think now they're gonna actually buy a resort here shortly.
Oh, okay. Well, it sounds like their business is exploding. So,
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
did you offer to kind of like help them with their business? Because, a lot of folks that go in and, they don't have that ability to get mentored by somebody right away. So what value did you bring to them to be able to have them in turn, feed into you?
Yeah, so they had the opportunity to purchase kind of a smaller dying brokerage at the time, and they really just wanted to be able to um they really knew the process and everything, were helpful with the mentorship and how to start my business. They just really wanted somebody that they knew they could trust, and also knew that they didn't have to worry as any sort of liability, because that can be a struggle in this industry,
Yeah.
with different people and different backgrounds and everything. So they knew they could trust me, and so they made the move, and yeah, we ended up eventually going different directions, and now I'm with EXP Realty. But
Okay.
they're still good friends to this day.
Yeah, we have a member in our a member in our group, Dylan Tanaka. He is with EXP. He's in Detroit,
Oh, that
but
sounds familiar.
he wrote a book about like I can't remember the name of it, but it's about being an investor and a realtor. Um, so yeah, he's a great resource for a lot of the folks that we have on here. Okay, so you went over and you opened up this business as a traditional agent, right? Just agent brokerage.
Correct. Yep. Boutique
Okay,
brokerage.
boutique brokerage. Okay, where does real estate investing come into play in this?
Yeah. So the big part of real estate investing has kind of gone into really what's been good is really how I've been able to start these relationships and help others get into that business. So they really mentored me into how I've been able to kind of get those deals and help those investors work with others, and then
Okay.
how I've actually been able to use that for my own personal business with property management, and really helping others get into the different resources and everything like that, and finding those tenants and everything, and how that really kind of started it helped both my personal in terms of residual income,
Mm-hmm.
as well as building my sphere for the sales side as well.
Okay. What do you think were some of the biggest challenges of you getting into real estate? Obviously coming from, social services or, that type of background.
Yeah, I think you get such empathy towards people, and I don't think I never want to lose that. That's a big part of who I am as a
Mm-hmm.
person. But it does come to a time where it I realize that it's only a big deal if you make it a big deal. And I think just taking the recognizing that emotion's important, but also recognizing that how you carry yourself and everything can actually being confident and maybe less emotional actually will help steer the process into an easier transition going forward.
Yeah, I think it's being a little bit more, and maybe in a sense more resolute, but still with that empathetic side, right? That shows that we understand. So, what other troubles or what other challenges did you have you come across as far as maybe working with investors? Trying to help them find their deals.
Yeah, so a big part of it is coming from not being from the area originally. I mean, just from a personal standpoint and just finding the business. I'm not from the area, so I don't have
Right.
this fear. I don't have this way of kind of um this way of really building interest and like in trust in people yet. So really what it took is just me doing kind of some of that dirty work a little bit that maybe those other agents, and what I mean by dirty work, I mean as in like just that area that people don't want to do.
Yeah.
The cold calling, You know, the calling the for sale by owners,
the $1 and $10
right,
tasks.
right. And honestly, it's
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, it's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
from a very, very mutual benefit. One of my first investors that I ever was actually, he was trying to sell something on his own for sale by owner. And I mean, we've done multiple deals since then. I mean, I cold called him and I said, I think I can really help you out. And I was able to sell his home for you. And then I've found 3 off market deals in the last, couple years for him that he's been able to cash flow pretty well on.
How are you finding the off-market deals? Are they being brought to you? Are they referrals or pocket listings from somebody else?
It's just no. I mean, honestly, a lot of it comes from just starting that sphere with people that trust me. They know that I'm gonna serve their interests as well as, and I'm only gonna bring it if it's gonna be um, a
Benefit.
mutual benefit. Yep, yep. So I mean, obviously, when you get into that role where you're representing both sides or you're bringing that opportunity, that's my goal, is for it to be a win-win on both sides. And I see that a lot with specifically where you see those um, situations where maybe just people are getting a little bit older and don't want to deal with some of those rentals and don't know how to effectively do that more
Yeah.
hands off.
Yeah.
So a lot of those kind of deals, that's a lot of that comes from church. That's just people know who I am, and it's just it doesn't really. I like to be like, I'm not like this walking billboard. When there's certain areas where I'm like, no, I don't wear my logo, I don't wear anything like that, but
Mhm.
people know what I do for a living, so they come to me. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's gotten to that point where it's just become so ingrained in who I am, and I think that's the beauty of any investor having that in their back pocket, is you want somebody that's just who they are. That's just,
Yep.
they post it on their social media, it's on their business card. It's just who they are. So
Yep.
and having that in your back pocket, I think is key. That's somebody that's just naturally doing the work without them even feeling like they're working.
Okay. Well, let's take a little step back on that, right? You
Sure.
you mentioned that it's because you built a rapport, you built a relationships with people. The title of this is No Sphere. How do you do that? What are some of the key things that helped you be able to build rapport, build those relationships so people can and come to you?
Yeah. So a big part of, so if I were to start from square one, exactly where I went back, and I mean, I tried a lot of things, like a lot of agents. There was a lot of money spent that didn't need to be spent. There was a lot
Sure.
of time spent that didn't need to be spent. But where I probably got the most steam is, and this is really any real estate agent or any investor that they looking to partner with a real estate agent, you can't be afraid to call old expired listings. Listings that maybe they were on Zillow, or if an
Yep.
agent has software to look up the numbers. I mean, you go back, and not all real estate agents are created equal. I call it being the rescuer. That was my role. Is that there'd be people. Sorry, my camera cut off there. There'd be people where I'd be working. We were working with an agent that would use cell phone pictures. Didn't even give them an opportunity to clean their house, but they're like, "We gotta list it now. We gotta list it now."
Yeah.
Listing expired. And I come in and I say, I 2 opportunities for you. I have buyers right here in my back pocket, or I can get you on this market and let's get this professionally done. And that just builds rapport.
How did you find those buyers in your pocket?
Different softwares, I mean, there's just, the fancy going on the county website, and finding, obviously, being a real estate agent, I have access to the MLS, but I go on, or, anybody can look off of, Zillow, and then if you were to pay a subscription to White Pages, you can go and find their phone numbers. That's probably
Mhm.
the cheapest. Might not be the most like efficient way, but if you were to keep your
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
spend down, that's the way I would recommend doing it.
Got it. What other ways can you think someone can go out and find a buyer? Or have you find buyers besides, yeah.
I go find buyers.
Well, no, how have you found them besides doing what you said?
Yeah, absolutely. Facebook groups are big. I mean, and we're talking like very like, you're like starting bare bones, want to spend as little money as possible, so there's going to be a little bit more filtering than your average person. Or sorry, not your average person, but a little more filtering than an established agent or somebody that's grew up in an area. Facebook groups, if you post, just saying that you're looking for somebody that wants to partner, they'll, if you go in those larger groups, you're going to get a lot of people contacting you. A lot that don't know what they're doing, but there's still going to be a lot that do. And I would say too, I mean, for an investor side, when you see an agent, even if they were newer, but if they were willing to put themselves out there like that, I mean, that's a big deal. And I think there's a lot of people that have maybe too much pride to do that.
Right.
So even with the lack of experience, if somebody's willing to put themselves out there and really put the work in, I think that's more important, honestly, sometimes than experience.
Oh yeah. I mean, sometimes action trumps experience a lot. So what does your current business look like? I mean, obviously you're doing the traditional real estate. Do you own properties? Are you flipping? Are you wholesaling? Are you doing any of that stuff on the investment side?
Yeah, so I would say I spend most of my time mostly on the sales side at this point. I grow my business with the EXP model and everything like that. So I invest a lot more in people at this point. And bring in others. That's probably more maybe that's like the social services in me, is that I just enjoy working with people. So honestly, it's like I receive income that way, and that's kind of my rentals that I've kind of turned into.
Yep.
I do some property management and everything. Just enough to stay in the kind of the game. I don't know if that makes sense, and just kind of
Sure.
like experience with idea of where rates are at and everything like that, and resources out there. So I mean, it gives me kind of my money to invest in my other businesses, but my heart and passion is almost just working with the people and helping them find the deals, almost on the investor side, if
I
anything,
love
if that
it.
makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I love it. How many properties do you manage?
Oh gosh, just 2 right now, and then it's going to be 4 by the end of the year here.
Oh, nice. Okay, and these are someone else's properties, and they're not yours.
Yeah, somebody else's properties. Yep.
And how many do you own?
I own 2 properties, but probably by the end of it this year, we're going to be selling one here shortly. So
okay, all right. And then are you managing those, or do you have a property manager for those?
I manage them, but I mean, I manage them as hands off as I hire everything out.
What are some of the mistakes that you think you're seeing people make that are, maybe wanting to get into the business, buy properties, maybe start a property management company? I mean, what are some mistakes you're seeing around these things?
I mean, this could be I think it's just being realistic on what your time allows and where you are in life. That's kind of what it was for me, because I was in that same and what I mean by that is I think that there's a point where you need to go hard, and you need, like, when you have that ability, you need to go hard, and you need to, if that's the way that you want to run your business, you figure it out. and you decide this is how I'm going to run my business by this method. And what I mean by that is there's certain other, depending on who you agree with, there's, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, there's Dave Ramsey, totally opposite side of the spectrum.
Yeah.
And I'm not like really going to talk about which one, there, but I'll say is that I think people need to decide what the path they're going to be, but when they're wishy-washy and everything like that, and they like want to do one way or the other, I've seen that mistake happen a lot where, they can't decide how they're going to run their business. And I think they really need to treat it like a business. It's a business. It's not just like a fun little investment thing. And that's where the money flowing actually happens. It's not from just the, oh yeah, we might do this as like a side hustle type thing. Because
Right.
you're just going to end up with one property, and it might feel like it cash flows nice, but then, when
Wait till something
when
happens.
yeah, exactly. And that's the thing is like you're breaking down the numbers and realizing. So it's like I got a 4 and 2-year-old, and I don't know how to swing a hammer. Like if I'm buying a property, I'm going to make sure that I have everything budgeted for that way for other people to take care of the maintenance and everything,
Right.
and any other expenses. And people I don't think really recognize what goes into that.
No, I don't think they do either. I mean, I had that same kind of situation. I had a property in Indiana, and yeah, I didn't plan for some of that stuff, but you have to.
Mhm.
Now let's talk a little bit about what our topic was: say the 0 to 30 deals. With no sphere. What are some of the main things you did to get to that 30? Like, what are some steps that you made that someone else can maybe listen to and be like, hey, I can do that?
Mhm. So everything I did was very calculated. So if you want to go to what I touched on before, if we're going like free to like minimum low cost. So if we're talking strictly from the sales standpoint, and this is both investor and as a agent, so I'd start with the expired list. Start with the ones that look like they were the least marketed.
How do
Those were
you
the one
how do you know that?
quality of picture. That's the most obvious. You look in the description. I have the benefit of living in a small town.
Mm-hmm.
So I can tell you, if I'm just being point blank honest, I know which agent's going to market better than the others. So
Yeah,
if
sure.
there's certain agents and everything, that do it, I know like, okay, I'm gonna cold call on that one because I know that I could do a better job.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but also presenting yourself in that way and just like making that promise and then fulfilling that,
Yeah.
that's the big deal.
Yeah.
Be about it. I'd say, if we go from there, I'd say, the classic would be just creating some sort of touch plan with your personal sphere. As soon as your sphere might be 10 people, but just know that you got to make sure that you maintain that relationship and grow it
Yeah.
quarterly, and that's just you checking on your friends. That's not trying to get a benefit of anything, but
Sure.
that's gonna grow as well. Anything you spend money on needs to be strategic. We don't, you don't throw money at the wall and hope it sticks. You're always going to get, as an investor or an agent, millions of people are gonna. Millions is a little dramatic, but not that dramatic. You're gonna get a bunch of phone calls from every software company in town telling you that they
Every
can give
shiny
you,
object.
yeah, every shiny object. I always tell people, I tell you what, I'll hear you out, but I need hard data of that in my area that you have succeeded in.
Yep.
And if they can't provide me that, I don't take another call.
Yeah. No, that's
Um,
very valid.
yeah, and there's more and more, and people can reach out to me. I'll talk to that. I have kind of ways that I've hacked, even like Zillow. I've hacked, like Zillow and
Mhm.
using that in a much more cost effective way. If people ever use the Premier Agent zip codes, my most effective one, I I spend $85 a month on, and probably gives me $10 million worth of, not 10 million, sorry, 10 deals worth of decent deals a year.
Nice.
So it's really just being very calculated in how you spend your money, and I think rather than throwing it at the wall, seeing what sticks.
The spaghetti effect.
Yeah.
Are you planning in the future on growing and completely and getting bigger in the agent traditional side, or are you going to be kind of maybe veering a little bit more of your time, energy, and resources to the investments?
I think what I would like to do, and this is, it's both and. From a personal standpoint, how I grow. and how what gets me up in the morning is working with those agents,
Hmm.
and helping them. What I'm kind of in that phase of in terms with investment, and that's kind of from I had talked about before, is making sure I'm in the room with the right people. Is that I need to grow with somebody that also has the same passion and work ethic as me.
Yep.
With that, because I know my limitations, and I think that I would encourage anybody else with any job, career, or anything like that is just recognize your limitations and then finding the people that can help balance that out.
Yeah, I got to get you connected with Dylan Tanaka from Detroit.
Yeah, no, I love that.
He would be a great resource. And we're getting close on time here, but just for folks listening and that might have something that could help you, what are a few things that that you kind of need, or maybe some obstacles or challenges you have in your business to get you ratcheted up another notch?
I think 100% it's all about, I had mentioned before, I think it's all about making sure you're in the right room with the right people.
Yeah.
You're talking about investors. Yeah, as an investor, if you're in an investor group or if you're in an investor partnership, making sure that they're actually about it.
Mhm.
You're not putting in all the work. It's sometimes even more important to have the work ethic and the passion than it is to have the experience, and sometimes even the capital. Capital helps, but
Right.
it's really kind of when it's easier to push people than it is to pull them,
Yeah.
and so to find those people that you don't mind challenging and you can discuss and cuss is what they call it. That's
That's
with real
new.
estate too. you know
Yeah. No, that's true. I haven't heard the discuss and cuss before, or cuss and discuss before, but that's pretty cool. That does kind of sound like some of our conversations at our mastermind.
yeah.
Um, if folks are up in your area, your neck of the woods, I mean, if they're not, and they just want to call you and pick your brain or get in touch with you, maybe they have a deal to partner on, maybe they just, I don't know, they need your services somehow. How could they get in touch with you?
Yeah, absolutely. So the best way to get a hold of me is honestly, like, I just put my personal cell phone out there. I don't know if you'll put that in there, but it's
Yeah, we'll put on the
218.
show notes.
Oh, you'll put it all in there. Okay. Yeah, Instagram, Facebook. I'm very active on there. So I mean, just messaging me in any way. I have a website. It's just malcolmwallaker.com. And so there's an account if people want to do a more personal, like Zoom or personal meetup. I have a connection there as well. And so
Cool.
that's the best way to get connected.
Okay, and like I said, we'll put all that in the show notes. Malcolm, thank you again for coming on here and sharing your knowledge, man. And guys, I hope everybody that's out there listening, took some good notes, got some nuggets out of there, and hope they enjoyed the show as much as I did. So, everybody, hope you enjoyed it. Have yourself a great afternoon. We'll see you on the next one. Cheers.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.